Today, we uncover the remarkable tale of one of the most enigmatic figures to ever shape the world stage, Napoleon Bonaparte. From humble beginnings to becoming the Emperor of the French, his story is one of ambition, triumphs, and ultimate downfall. Imagine a world in upheaval, a France emerging from revolution's chaos, and a young Napoleon rising through the ranks with audacious charisma and military brilliance. We'll unravel the captivating saga of his meteoric rise, exploring the strategic genius that led him to conquer vast swathes of Europe, all while reshaping the very fabric of society. But the allure of power comes with a cost, and as we delve into his height of glory, we'll also confront his darkest moments. The ill-fated Russian campaign, the tense Battle of Waterloo, these pivotal events would eventually seal his fate and bring about a dramatic fall from grace. Napoleon's saga takes us from the grandeur of his coronation to the despair of his exile on a remote island. We'll analyze his legacy, both in terms of the political systems he left in his wake and the enduring impact on art, culture, and even modern warfare. So join us as we untangle the web of intrigue, brilliance, and tragedy that surrounded the rise and fall of Napoleon Bonaparte, a man who will never be forgotten in the history of France and Europe at large. In the rugged landscapes of Corsica, on August 15, 1769, a child was born who would forever leave an indelible mark on history, Napoleon Bonaparte. This picturesque island, with its tumultuous history of changing allegiances, would provide the backdrop for his early life. Nestled within this complex context, Napoleon's keen interest in military matters began to emerge at a remarkably young age. Growing up in a family that held deep-rooted ties to Corsica, Napoleon was exposed to stories of heroism and conflict from an early age. These tales, combined with the inherent spirit of resilience and rebellion that coursed through the island's veins, ignited a spark of curiosity within him. The island's annexation by France further heightened his sense of identity and his aspiration to make a significant mark on the world stage. Even as a child, Napoleon displayed an insatiable appetite for learning, with a particular fascination for matters of warfare and strategy. His early inclination towards military matters was evident in the games he played and the books he sought out. His thirst for knowledge knew no bounds, and he began to devour treatises on history and tactics with fervor, laying the intellectual foundation for his future pursuits. Recognizing his potential, Napoleon's parents facilitated his enrollment in mainland France's Royal Military School of Brienne-le-Château. This move marked a pivotal juncture in his life, providing a structured environment in which his burgeoning interest in military matters could be nurtured and developed. Surrounded by an atmosphere of discipline and learning, his natural aptitude for grasping complex concepts stood out. As he delved deeper into the world of military strategy and warfare, Napoleon's ambitions expanded beyond the confines of Corsica. The tumultuous era of the French Revolution only fueled his aspirations for greatness. With each lesson absorbed, each historical account internalized, he inched closer to his destiny, a destiny that would propel him from the rugged landscapes of Corsica to the grand theaters of European power. His early involvement in the French Revolution marked the beginning of a trajectory that would forever alter the course of history. As revolutionary fervor swept across France, the young Corsican officer found himself drawn to the ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity that were reshaping the nation. Amidst the backdrop of societal upheaval, Napoleon's strategic mind and charismatic demeanor quickly set him apart. His early military successes caught the attention of his superiors, propelling him through the ranks with astonishing speed. With each battlefield triumph, his reputation for tactical brilliance solidified, earning him the respect of both his peers and his commanders. One of the defining moments of Napoleon's rise occurred during the Italian campaigns. His visionary tactics and audacious maneuvers led to a series of resounding victories against superior forces. The Battle of Lodi in 1796, in particular, showcased his ability to swiftly adapt and exploit weaknesses in the enemy's defenses. This triumph not only bolstered his reputation but also demonstrated his unique capacity to inspire and lead his troops to victory. Napoleon's pivotal role extended beyond European battlefields. His leadership in the Egyptian campaign exemplified his ambition to extend French influence beyond the continent. While the campaign ultimately ended without the expected conquest, it showcased Napoleon's ability to navigate complex geopolitical situations and exploit strategic advantages. The year 1799 witnessed a pivotal turning point in Napoleon Bonaparte's meteoric rise, a turning point that would redefine the fate of France. Amidst a backdrop of political turbulence and discontent, the nation stood on the precipice of change. Napoleon's strategic prowess had earned him a reputation as a military genius, yet his ambitions extended beyond the battlefield. Sensing an opportunity, he allied himself with like-minded politicians who sought to stabilize the nation's fractured political landscape. Together, they sought to address the inefficiencies and corruption that had plagued the revolutionary government. The culmination of these efforts arrived in the form of the coup of 18 Brumaire. With a shrewd blend of military support and political maneuvering, Napoleon orchestrated a smooth and calculated seizure of power. On that fateful day, he strode into the Council of Ancients, delivering a compelling speech that effectively dissolved the existing government. His vision for a stronger, more centralized authority resonated with many, and amidst a climate of uncertainty, his ascent to power was embraced by both the military and civilian spheres. Establishing himself as the first consul of France marked a dramatic shift in the nation's governance. With a blend of pragmatism and vision, Napoleon sought to reconcile the ideological divisions that had characterized the revolution. He recognized the need for stability, aiming to strike a balance between order and liberty. This period saw the birth of sweeping reforms that reshaped France's legal, administrative, and educational systems. One of Napoleon's most enduring legacies was the Napoleonic Code, a comprehensive and revolutionary legal framework that emphasized equality before the law, property rights, and individual freedoms. This code not only streamlined a previously convoluted legal system but also served as a blueprint for legal reforms across the globe. As the first consul, Napoleon embarked on a transformative journey, wielding both military might and visionary leadership to reshape France's destiny. His strategic genius and reformist zeal laid the groundwork for a new era, an era that would see him ascend to even greater heights of power and leave an indelible imprint on the pages of history. In the year 1804, Napoleon Bonaparte stood at a pivotal crossroads in his tumultuous journey, poised to cement his power and reshape the course of Europe. His declaration as emperor marked a significant departure from the republican ideals that had defined the earlier phases of the French Revolution. The scene that unfolded during his grand coronation was one of unparalleled grandeur and ambition. In the opulent setting of Notre Dame Cathedral, Napoleon orchestrated a spectacle that transcended the mere trappings of regal splendor. The event encapsulated his imperial ambitions, designed not only to assert his authority but to evoke a sense of historical continuity and divine right. Crowned by his own hand, Napoleon symbolically conveyed that he derived his power directly from the people rather than traditional monarchies. This bold move to establish a new imperial order was underpinned by his strategic control over vast territories. With a sweeping array of military campaigns, Napoleon had achieved dominance over a significant part of Europe. His strategic brilliance had brought nations to their knees, from Spain to Austria, expanding his realm to an unprecedented extent. This supremacy granted him immense leverage in diplomatic negotiations and enabled him to shape the European political landscape according to his vision. Napoleon Bonaparte's unparalleled military prowess came to the fore as he embarked on a series of campaigns across Europe, leaving an indelible mark on the landscape of warfare. Notably, his triumphs at Austerlitz and Jena Auerstedt stand as testament to his innovative tactics and unwavering ability to outmaneuver his opponents. The Battle of Austerlitz, often dubbed his masterpiece of strategy, was a showcase of Napoleon's strategic brilliance. Faced with a formidable alliance of Russian and Austrian forces, he exploited the terrain to his advantage, luring the enemy into a false sense of security. Employing a daring double envelopment maneuver, he skillfully divided and overwhelmed his opponents. The result was a resounding victory that solidified his reputation as a military genius. Equally remarkable was the Battle of Jena Auerstedt, where Napoleon faced the combined forces of Prussia. Recognizing the Prussian army's disjointed approach, he swiftly capitalized on their divided command structure. With impeccable timing, he unleashed a coordinated assault that dismantled their defenses. His use of highly mobile infantry and rapid artillery movements showcased his ability to exploit openings with precision, leading to a decisive victory. What set Napoleon apart was his innovative approach to warfare. He embraced a new style of warfare that emphasized speed, flexibility, and the exploitation of enemy weaknesses. His incorporation of corps-level tactics and emphasis on disciplined movement revolutionized military strategy. His use of rapid marches, strategic positioning, and efficient supply chains allowed him to maintain the element of surprise and keep adversaries off balance. In 1812, Napoleon Bonaparte's audacious ambition led him to embark on a monumental campaign, the invasion of Russia. With dreams of extending his dominance, he amassed a formidable Grande Armée and set his sights on Moscow. However, this ambitious endeavor would prove to be his downfall, marred by a series of calamitous factors. The ill-fated invasion of Russia was characterized by its strategic miscalculations and a lack of preparedness for the harsh realities of the Russian landscape. As Napoleon's forces advanced, they encountered vast distances, resource scarcity, and the immense challenges posed by unfamiliar terrain. The Russian strategy of employing a scorched earth policy further exacerbated the difficulties faced by the invaders. The decimation of local resources and infrastructure hindered Napoleon's supply lines and stretched his troops to their limits. The disastrous impact of the Russian winter is a hallmark of this ill-conceived campaign. As temperatures plummeted, Napoleon's troops found themselves ill-equipped to withstand the brutal cold. Lack of proper winter clothing, shelter, and dwindling provisions led to rampant disease and frostbite. The biting winter sapped their strength and resolve, resulting in a severe weakening of the once mighty Grande Armée. Compounding these challenges was the implementation of guerrilla warfare by Russian forces and local militias. The elusive nature of these hit-and-run tactics made it difficult for Napoleon's troops to engage in decisive battles. The constant threat of ambushes and the inability to secure a stable front line eroded the morale and cohesion of the French forces. The disastrous combination of the harsh Russian winter and the relentless guerrilla warfare shattered Napoleon's grand ambitions. As his forces retreated in disarray, the once proud Grande Armée was reduced to a mere fraction of its former strength. The invasion of Russia stands as a cautionary tale of the perils of overreach and underestimating the complexities of warfare, teaching the world that even the mightiest empires can crumble when confronted with the unforgiving forces of nature and the tenacity of determined defenders. As Napoleon's grip on Europe tightened, a coalition of wary European powers began to coalesce against his expanding dominance. Fueled by a shared concern over his unchecked influence, nations including Russia, Prussia, Austria, and Britain forged alliances aimed at curbing his power and restoring the balance of the continent. This coalition represented a united front against Napoleon's ambitions, as each nation sought to safeguard its sovereignty and halt his relentless expansion. The turning point came at the Battle of Leipzig in 1813, often referred to as the Battle of Nations. This monumental clash saw the coalition's forces converge on Leipzig to challenge Napoleon's might. The battle raged for 4 days, with a staggering number of soldiers engaged on both sides. Despite his strategic prowess, Napoleon's forces were eventually overwhelmed by the sheer numbers and determination of his opponents. The defeat was a seismic blow to his empire, marking the beginning of his decline. The Battle of Leipzig led to a series of events that would eventually culminate in Napoleon's first abdication in 1814. As the coalition forces closed in, he was compelled to renounce his throne and relinquish his power. He was exiled to the island of Elba, where he found himself far removed from the grandeur he had once commanded. Yet, the story continued to unfold. Far from resigning himself to a life of exile, Napoleon seized an opportunity to escape Elba in 1815. With remarkable audacity, he returned to France, rekindling his supporters' fervor and igniting a brief period known as the 100 Days. His escape and triumphant return were a testament to his ability to command loyalty and shape the course of history. Napoleon's escape from Elba in 1815 marked an audacious return to the stage of European politics. As he set foot in France, he was greeted with a mix of anticipation and uncertainty. This event ignited what would be known as the 100 Days, a brief but intense period of his second reign. During the 100 Days, Napoleon's efforts to regain power were characterized by a sense of urgency and a desire to secure his legacy. Aware of the coalition's intent to thwart his return, he sought to rally support from both loyalists and those who believed in his vision for a reformed France. His return was met with a blend of enthusiasm and skepticism, with some viewing him as a symbol of past glory and others questioning the consequences of his reappearance. The Battle of Waterloo, fought on June 18, 1815, marked a climactic moment in Napoleon's tumultuous journey. Stationed in present-day Belgium, he faced off against the Duke of Wellington's British and Allied forces, as well as the Prussian army under General Blücher. The battle was a culmination of strategic missteps and unfortunate circumstances that would seal his fate. Napoleon's renowned tactical brilliance was tested at Waterloo. The battle saw a relentless back and forth, with both sides displaying remarkable resilience. Napoleon's plans were hindered by poor communication and coordination among his marshals, causing critical delays in deploying troops. Despite his strategic acumen, he encountered fierce resistance from Wellington's well-positioned forces and Blücher's timely arrival. The turning point came when the Prussian forces counterattacked, overwhelming Napoleon's army and ultimately securing the coalition's victory. Defeated and facing the inevitability of capture, Napoleon made the reluctant decision to abdicate for the second time on June 22, 1815. This marked the end of his short-lived 100 Days and his return to power. He surrendered to British authorities with the understanding that he would be exiled to a remote location to prevent any further attempts to regain power. Exile to St. Helena, a remote island in the South Atlantic, marked the final chapter of Napoleon's life. Confined to the island, he lived under strict surveillance, cut off from the European continent and the political currents that once shaped his destiny. While initially treated with some leniency, his conditions deteriorated over time, and his health began to decline. The Battle of Waterloo and its aftermath represented a pivotal juncture that reshaped the trajectory of Napoleon's life. His ultimate defeat on the battlefield and the subsequent exile to St. Helena marked the end of his reign and the closing chapter of his remarkable journey. Napoleon Bonaparte's death in 1821 marked the end of an era defined by his meteoric rise, unparalleled military prowess, and transformative influence. He died on the remote island of St. Helena, where he had been exiled after his final defeat. The exact cause of his death has been the subject of debate, with possibilities ranging from stomach cancer to arsenic poisoning. Regardless of the cause, his passing marked the conclusion of a life that had reshaped the course of European history. Beyond his military conquests, Napoleon's legacy found resonance in the realm of governance and law. His most enduring contribution was the Napoleonic Code, a groundbreaking legal framework that championed equality, civil rights, and uniformity under the law. Its influence radiated across Europe as nations recognized its progressive principles and integrated them into their own legal systems.